Welcome to the buymeacoffee.com/James Poartistry, the coffee tips page that supports my James Poartistry creative productions and work. See also jamespoartistry.online.
Hello, Perceptive Reader. On this Sunday, I want to encourage you to keep in mind the way that Jehovah God and Jesus has shown and described their type of forgiveness, and also the way that they teach us, have been teaching humans for centuries. And the reason why this is so important, that I told you one of the aspects of my life that I've been battling with from my spiritual knowledge and readings over the years is this. There are different philosophies. And in these days that we're living in, there is still a battle in the spiritual realm type battle, which is of course dealing with all of us on which teaching is the best. All these human philosophies that have come about through experimentation, observation, being apathetic, and just downright cruel, which has been rolled up in different forms of teachings and disciplines. Okay? That doesn't mean that they haven't learned about the human psyche. What I'm here to tell you again is, even with everything that has been learned about the human psyche and spirituality at times, and I'm talking straight up, this is the way I truly feel, is they've learned and gathered a lot of information. But even some of the ones who are in higher place positions, and I'm saying this respectfully, have not fully grasped what all that information was to give them as a result, as what is the best way. And here is what I mean. You can get humans to do what you want them to do and use all sorts of harsh methods to do it. But see, that is not the way that Jehovah God and Jesus instructs us to do certain things. And so you can get somebody to do something instantly just based on fear. But if you want it to have the type of effect, the elevated effect, spirituality effect, a person doesn't need to be abused. And as I mentioned also, that you got a lot of people who have gone through those type of methods. They've been abused on such levels, and they think that it made them a better person. And the thing about it is, if you still believe in using that same method that you went through made you a better person, will help somebody, then I would say no, it didn't in some areas. Why? Because the more that a person continues to meditate on Jesus' mind, you can still see that no, that's not the case. So what I'm trying to tell you today is this. Not everybody have a temperament of what I call hard-headedness. See, some people are hard-headed, and I told you it's interesting. Some people literally like that type of harsh, um, um, turn down treatment in order to learn something. And, oh yeah, there's some people who are like that. And I say, okay, if that's their thing, that's their thing. But see, that still doesn't mean that their way of viewing and learning should be pushed on to somebody else, no matter what they may have done. There's different ways of instructing the person or even disciplining them. And not everybody need to have their mind torn apart in order for them to get it. Because as I've stated from some scriptural reasons, in this, what we sometimes call Satan's world from since the beginning of time, people have grown up and they have done whatever they needed to done at times, pacts, even pacts with the devil, because that's just what you did. So the Bible describes a lot of these spiritistic false teachings as belonging to a kingdom of even Babylon the Great, which God says through his scriptures, he's breaking people free from. And it's been a tough battle for many individuals. So what happened to some individuals, even though they were seeing light on how to break free from certain areas at times, you know what? They were kept so busy. They were kept such in the race, in the rut. See, that's the way Satan does things, that you really don't always have time to even meditate on the good stuff that you were learning. And that's the fact of the matter. And so, depending on still who is around you, you will have some individuals who will show the patience of God to help you along. And then you have some individuals that just won't put that much effort in helping you to learn. And I know, again, many persons will take it from the view of, well, that's just that person's fault or what have you. Yeah, in some cases, I know that is the case. All I can say again is it talks about in the scriptures that God and Jesus loved us, basically. Yeah, well, he does. Loved us and even saved us, redeemed us with putting into place this ransom sacrifice that we can call upon, ask for forgiveness of sins, even before we knew we needed it. See, God did all that even before we knew we needed it. And Jesus was showing the patience. See, here's the thing. See, that's why I sometimes make the distinction between, I told you, the common people, the normal everyday people, and people who really are what you would consider rulers and things of that nature. Why? Because the common people often are just reacting to still the type of authority and leadership that they've had over them all their life. And if you want to look at parents, you know, whether the parent did a good job or bad job, if the child grows up acting a certain way, then you know most likely it wasn't because of a totally bad heart, but in a lot of cases it was because of the philosophy of the parent as well. You see, the parent, and then you got the peer pressure. In order the child feeling like they had to do something just to get along with everybody else because there was no other avenue, no other way to make a living, even if you will. And that's the fact of the matter. Not everybody had those type of circumstances, which Jesus knows. And so here it is. I still stand by this. Not everyone, I don't care what they do, should be treated the same. It's the spiritual teachings that help you to deal with such persons and such matters. And one of the things that Satan, the devil, has done in our time as well is a lot of areas that really does belong to, let me just use the term, that belongs to the church, that belongs to Jehovah God's people. Satan has still hijacked that from them. You see, that will really be helping the people. And that's the reality of what's going on. And I know persons like to speak about institutions as a whole. Yeah, but from what the scriptures show through prophecy, it is very clear that in every single institution, you got the minions of the devil that are there just to corrupt every single one of them. And so if you got that being bombarded with all that all day long, you know, if I was you, I wouldn't look at the person who did something bad as they're just a totally bad individual. What I would look at is, and I'm just talking in general now, is okay, is that person one of the minions that we know are in these different places that straight up, I told you, a Satan, a devil, or what have you? Or is this still quite possibly someone that never had the real opportunity to teach, to learn, and to apply what was right? And have they been in situations where really they're still in bondage? They've been in bondage. And I'm telling you this for a reason. The bravery that I know some persons will have to show is they will have to take that chance if their bondage hasn't been so that they can't even write a letter to a person or persons that could really help them, an agency that could really help them. And you'll find a lot of persons that just don't have that knowledge in that way. A lot of persons who don't even have the opportunity. That's one of the reasons why we have what we would call outsiders. If you've been pushed into a certain category or a certain box all your life, and so you don't know the nuances and ins and outs, so to speak, because there's just certain information they never gave you. They never gave. And even when the information that you received at times was accurate information, but the minions made sure that whenever you implemented this or that, they made sure that they still blocked you in this way or that way. So you really don't know whether what you were told is accurate or not, because they place such a negative effect on such things. See, now this is where we get to the master level on such things. Okay, what I'm about to tell you. Don't let these persons fool you into thinking just because one individual still says hello to another individual or what have you, that, because they don't have the same frequency or what have you, that they need to be separated or what have you. Now, I know your energy can get pretty jacked up. And I say that's one of those things that you have to decide for yourself. But other persons should still allow you to have that opportunity, because the fact of the matter is, just because somebody comes into your personal space, and listen to this now, just because someone comes into your personal boundaries, remember that area within your personal boundaries, whether it's in person, or whether it's even internet wise, your websites and stuff like that, it doesn't mean now that it's theirs because they sat down in front of you like that. No, it is still your space. And so the point is, if you ask them then to, go about their business, because this is still your space. This is still your intellectual property. And just because they were presumptuous to come and get in your way and to take that over, or which is still in God's eyes, guess what? It doesn't change the fact, like Naboth's vineyard, it is still yours. Did you get that? Like Naboth's vineyard, it is still yours. And persons continue to prove that all they're trying to do is take something from you that they have no business taking from you, when it goes to show that they won't give you the verification and validation or contract or money, you see, to purchase whatever that lot was of land that you had, spiritually, intellectual property wise, or what have you. So when am I telling you all this? I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing it. I want to make it clear before Jehovah again. You can do what you want to keep on messing up the connections that I want. You know what? But as I told you before, and this is what I am sure, no matter how you're trying to twist your so-called well intentions, even spiritually, I'm here to tell you again today that no, in these days before God, you see, executes his day of Armageddon or what have you, I told you, most likely a lot of people going to just go ahead straight up and say, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I hate the Bible. And oh yeah, and I also worship the devil. And see, and that's what they're going to just have to do. Because the devil is still walking around acting like an angel of light in a lot of situations. And all they want to do is use their philosophies and everything to talk you out of what is your God-given right of ownership and how to worship him. And that's a fact. Take care.